David Griffin as Emmett Hawksworth. David Griffin was born in 1943 and was 46 when he first appeared as Emmett Hawksworth, the suave, sometimes charming older brother of Hyacinth's ugly, sophisticated world in the haunting film Beloved. From 1991 to 1995, Emmett became one of the series' most beloved and supportive characters, known for his anguished expressions whenever Hyacinth forced him to sing duets or perform desperate songs. Despite being a supporting role, David Griffin portrayed Emmett with a warm and charming calm. His character mirrored Hyacinth's turmoil, a sympathetic figure that made audiences laugh and sigh with relief at the same time. But few know that before Emmett brought him mainstream recognition, Griffin had a long career. From his debut in A French Mistress 1960 to popular shows such as Battle of Britain 1969, Doctor Who, Zakars, Emmerdale Farm, Allo Allo, and Ripping Yarns. After continuing to appear, Griffin did not disappear as many people thought. He spent much of his time on stage, notably appearing in comedies such as The Good Sex Guide, alongside actress Sue Pollard. He also acted in traditional British pantomimes, such as Jack and the Beanstalk, and appeared in the 2004 comedy documentary Connections, where he reunited with Patricia Routledge. Despite his solid career, David Griffin has kept his private life out of the entertainment world. He is married to a French woman, has 2 children, and has never caused a stir with scandals or shocking statements. No controversy, no back and forth, just the calm, dignified demeanor of a man who fulfills his role well both on and off stage. As of 2025, David Griffin is 81 years old, still alive, and is not believed to have any serious health problems. However, he no longer appears in public or plays any major roles. He seems to have retired to the countryside, enjoying a peaceful life with his family, much like Emmett, who prefers peace to chaos. Nigel Davenport as Rear Admiral. Arthur Nigel Davenport was born on 23 May 1928 in Cambridgeshire, into a family of education and long military tradition. He studied at Trinity College, Oxford, and worked as a DJ for the British Army in Hamburg. But it was on the stage that he truly belonged. At age 65, he appeared in the 1993 episode of Keeping Up, The Commodore, playing a female naval officer who tries to woo Hyacinth with his husky singing voice every week. Despite being a daring role, Nigel's performance made the character memorable, blending charm and humor. However, behind the aristocratic exterior lies a life filled with highs and lows. Nigel has acted in classics such as A Man for All Seasons, The Chariots of Fire, and A Christmas Carol, but he also experienced deep disappointment after being dropped from one of the biggest movies. 2001, A Space Odyssey. He was originally cast as HAL 9000, but Stanley Kubrick fired him after just a few weeks because his English accent was too difficult to understand. This rejection affected him severely, making him irritable and prone to conflict on set. Schools often described him as a fierce, obsessive perfectionist. His personal life was turbulent. His first marriage to Helena White ended after years of tension and rumors of infidelity. He later married actress Maria Aitken and had a son, Jack Davenport, who would later become world famous for his role as James Norrington in Pirates of the Caribbean. It was Nigel's legacy that helped open doors for Jack. Despite his artistic success, Nigel struggled with health problems due to alcoholism, which led to numerous hospitalizations and missed roles. He played many British aristocrats, dukes, kings, and lords, but these roles also concealed a dark inner world. As chairman of Equity, he fought fiercely for actors' rights, but was known for being combative behind the scenes. His life was a series of contrasts, artistic fame, and private parties. Nigel Davenport died on October 25, 2013, at the age of 85. There was no grand funeral, no national memorial. What remains in the public memory is an old Rear Admiral who appeared in an episode and left an unexpected echo of an actor with unexpected weight. Patricia Routledge as Hyacinth Bucket. Lady Catherine Patricia Routledge was born on February 17, 1929 in Tranmere, England. At the age of 61, she became a television sensation when she carried Hyacinth Bucket, a middle-class woman obsessed with social status, on the show Keeping Up from 1990 to 1995. With her insistence on pronouncing bucket as bouquet, Hyacinth is more than just a laugh. She is the perfect embodiment of class ambition, delusion, and loneliness hidden behind a perfectly unassuming exterior. Patricia plays the role with absolute precision, making it both funny and relatable, earning her 2 BAFTA nominations. But behind the image of a woman who dominated every candlelit dinner party was an artist without family, children, or scandal. A woman who spent her life immersed in books, theater, and church. In a 2001 interview, Patricia revealed that she had never chosen to be single. This happened simply because the play consumed her time, leaving no room for anyone else. She had 2 serious, never-ending relationships, one with a married man and one with a theater director. During her rise to fame, both men, she said, were just supporting characters, emotional, but never finished until the final act. Although she began her stage career in 1952, Patricia did not truly achieve international fame until Hyacinth, but that fame never compromised her artistic integrity. She refused to continue in the show when she felt it was becoming repetitive and decided to leave at the height of her fame. Like her idol, Ronnie Barker, she has won a Tony Award and an Olivier Award, and was appointed a DBE in 2017 for her services to the arts and charity. Despite her illustrious career, she has lived a modest life in Chichester since 2000, attending church and quietly donating $10,000 to restore a church wall, never once seeking media attention. As of 2025, Patricia Routledge is 96 years old, still physically and mentally fit. She occasionally appears at cultural events, most recently with Queen Camilla to mark the 400th anniversary of Shakespeare's birth, without fanfare or flash. She eschews the graceful acting, standing tall, neatly dressed, holding hands, like Hyacinth, but for real this time. Geoffrey William Hughes was born on 2nd February 1944 in Wallasey, England. At 46, he took on the defining role of Onslow, the shy, beer-swilling guy with dirty wrists and a beat-up car who appeared on Keeping Up from 1990 to 1995. With his petrol cap and mischievous smile, Onslow became the working-class ideal of Hyacinth. But through Geoffrey's performance, he became something more, a symbol of loneliness and the instinct to defy human expectations. Behind the innocent exterior was a life of introspection. Hughes had been famous on Coronation Street as Eddie Yates, but the pressures of television, the monotony of comedy, and his own fears of fame led to a quiet depression. His marriage to Susan Mundell also had its strains, especially when he stepped out of the limelight and struggled with feelings of alienation. He later withdrew from acting, not only for health reasons, but also because he felt he had nothing to prove. In 1996, Hughes was diagnosed with prostate cancer, a devastating blow. Although he continued acting and tried to keep his illness a secret, he suffered from persistent pain. In 2010, his cancer returned with a vengeance, forcing him to be hospitalized after suffering severe back pain. This was the last time he left the stage. His finances suffered during his treatment. His income dried up, while his medical expenses plummeted. At one point, his fortune was estimated at 1 million pesos, but illness and unemployment gradually consumed him. He died in his sleep on July 27, 2012, at the age of 68, a peaceful end to a life that was not easy. To the audience, Geoffrey Hughes was a slow, shy, reserved but kind man. To those who knew him, he was a man who gave more than the world had ever seen. Helen Christie was born on 22nd of October 1914 in British India, a faraway land that marked the beginning of a quiet but enduring contribution to British film and television. At the age of 70, she appeared in appearances of Maintenance, 1990, playing a registrar in the episode Trouble with Relatives. In this brief but memorable role, she navigated a chaotic plot involving Hyacinth's father, who had escaped from a nursing home to marry a mysterious woman in pink. Behind her serious exterior was a lonely personal life. Helen went through 3 homes, all with fellow actors Patrick Crean, Mark Dignam, and John Barron. Only her last relationship, with Barron, lasted. The first 2 relationships ended amicably, and those close to her described Helen as a perfectionist, distant and emotionally reserved. She had no children and devoted most of her life to acting and the film business. Christie appeared in plays such as The Queen of Spades, 1949, The Beggar's Opera, 1953, Melissa, 1964, and television series such as Middlemarch and Cranford. She often played supporting roles, old-fashioned girls, silent mothers, and women in the eye. Over 4 decades, she built a quiet legacy and amassed an estimated net worth of $500,000, enough to live comfortably in her later years. Helen Christie died on August 17, 1995, in Worthing, Sussex, England, at the age of 80. She is remembered for the dignity and gravity she brought to her supporting roles, which, though minor, left a lasting impression. Josephine Toussaint as Elizabeth Warden. Josephine Ann Toussaint was born on 26 February 1931 in London. She became a familiar face on British television with her natural, composed acting style. At the age of 59, she reached the peak of her career when she played Elizabeth Warden in the series Keeping Up from 1990 to 1995. Elizabeth, the shy neighbor who constantly breaks Hyacinth's wheels, is a supporting character, but she becomes a striking symbol of middle-class pressures and invisible anxieties. On screen, Josephine makes audiences laugh, but off-screen she carries a secret sadness. Her first play with Leonard Rossiter ended after only 3 years. Josephine once admitted that Rossiter was a talented actor, but a terrible husband. Years later, she remarried Dr. Henry Newman and seemed to have found peace until tragedy struck. Henry died suddenly in 1980. From then on, Josephine lived alone. No children, no family nearby. The stage became her only refuge, where she could express her repressed emotions. She became increasingly private in her later life. She continued to perform solo well into her 80s, with her final tours in 2019, when she was nearly 90. Though she was never a millionaire, she amassed a net worth of $2 million over the course of her 65-year career. Josephine Toussaint died on August 18, 2022, at Denville Hall, a nursing home for elderly actors. She was 91 years old. She died with dignity, under professional care, but without her family by her side. The latest news confirmed that he had Alzheimer's disease. His withdrawal from public life and retirement from the stage left many fans in despair. George Webb as the father. George Augustus Webb was born on March 6, 1912, in Paddington, London, and was 79 when he landed the role of Dad, the father of Hyacinth Bucket's eccentric adults, on the classic sitcom Keeping Up Appearances. Appearing for 5 years from 1990 to 1995, Dad left a lasting impression on audiences with his quirky antics, which included trying to stand up on his own, escaping from a retirement home, and even riding a naked motorbike around the garden. Like many of his co-stars, George Webb built a solid career. He appeared in Doctor Who, The Avengers, The One Den Line, and other British television shows, often in small but memorable roles. With his typical old-timey face and slovenly demeanor, Webb became a subtle comic symbol of health and old age, and the social awkwardness that Hyacinth tried to imagine. But behind the studio lights, his life was in constant turmoil. George was the eldest of 3 children. His younger brother, Dennis, tragically died at the age of 5 after being trapped in a military vehicle while picking flowers for their mother. His younger sister, Joan, after battling the disease for many years, committed suicide. These painful losses haunted Webb throughout his youth and pushed him into a deep inner world. On December 30, 1998, George Webb passed away at the age of 86. He left this world as peacefully as his life. Judy Cornwell Jongvi Daisy. Judy Valerie Cornwell was born on February 22, 1940, in England. At the age of 50, she won the hearts of international audiences when she played Daisy, Hyacinth's beautiful, unlikable, and somewhat naive younger sister, in her appearances on Keeping Up from 1990 to 1995. With her ragged pajamas, dreamy eyes, and teacup always in hand, Daisy was the perfect balance between Hyacinth's flashy and flamboyant looks. Not polished or elegant, but through Judy's guise, Daisy reminded viewers that living honestly may not be easy, but it can certainly be comfortable. Few people know that the woman who survived wartime bombings and moved to Australia as a child came to acting from an unlikely path. Before her fame, Judy was a professional dancer and comedian, earning a living performing between burlesque acts at the Leicester Square Theatre. It was there that she honed her stage skills and eventually branched out into radio, television, and even Shakespeare, a field that was not usually sought after by desperate people. Judy's life was free of scandal or great tragedy, but that did not mean it lacked depth. She played Anna Claus in the play Santa Claus. The film, The Hideous Woman in Rumpole of the Bailey, and the characters in EastEnders are both relatable and sympathetic. In addition to acting, Judy is also a published novelist, with works ranging from memoirs to fiction and humorous detective stories published between 1985 and 1996. In The Adventures of Frozen Baby, she writes serenely about a difficult childhood, reminding readers that behind every smile is an unexpected memory. She married journalist John Kelsall Perry in 1960, settled in Brighton, and had a son. She lived a life of detachment, where art was part of the journey rather than the destination. Despite being a regular on BBC programs, she remained humble to the end of her life. As of 2025, Judy Cornwell is 85 years old and is said to be healthy and active. She made a wonderful comeback in a special show to celebrate her 30th birthday in 2023. She doesn't need applause to feel recognized. Just a look, a smile from the audience, and a hot cup of tea. She feels happy. Clive Swift is Richard Bucket. Clive Walter Swift was born on February 9, 1936 in Liverpool, England. He was formally trained in theatre and was a member of the prestigious Royal Shakespeare Company. But audiences around the world remember him best as Richard Bucket, Hyacinth's long-suffering husband in the BBC classic Keeping Up, first broadcast in 1990 when he was 54. But behind the gentlemanly husband was an artist on a profound pilgrimage. His marriage to the novelist Margaret Drabble, seemingly bound by intellect, quickly fell apart. They divorced in 1975, leaving Clive with 3 children, including daughter Rebecca, who died suddenly in April 2017. The loss was a lingering wound in his later years, causing him to become more withdrawn. Although he never spoke publicly about his grief, those close to him said Clive never really got over it. Professionally, he also suffered a family tragedy. Being pigeonholed, this role that brought joy to millions of people left him feeling creatively stuck, especially when fans and the press only saw him as Hyacinth's husband. This created an internal conflict. An actor who had once been immersed in the depths of Shakespeare, now confined to a monotonous television image. His frustration was expressed more than once, most notably in a 2007 interview with Doctor Who magazine, where he was asked to answer questions about not making money from advertising. His whiteness, sometimes seen as difficult, coupled with years of public pressure, led Clive to withdraw from the media and turn to art. He continued to perform small touring shows that he wrote himself, but his passion for lighting was no longer the same. Although at one point his net worth was estimated at nearly £1 million, a modest figure for someone as famous as he was, it reflected a career built on integrity. Clive Swift passed away peacefully at home on February 1, 2019, just 8 days before his 83rd birthday. After a short illness, he passed away quietly, without fanfare or fuss, much like the quiet life he led. Mary Miller as Rose. Mary Miller, born Irene Mary Wetton on July 26, 1936 in Doncaster, England, captured the hearts of audiences nationwide when, at the age of 50, she played Rose, the flirtatious, dreamy, and chaotic younger sister of Hyacinth Bucket on Keeping Up appearances, appearing from the second season until the series finale, from 1991 to 1995. With her short boots, bright red pencil, and fragile heart, Rose was a charming yet humorous woman in contrast to her elegant sister. Mary made Rose unforgettable with her fearless and lively performance. But behind the television spotlight, Mary's life was a dark one. The daughter of 2 classical singers, she was born into a strict artistic environment, performing with her parents from a young age and living under huge expectations. She made her stage debut at the age of 17 and starred in major musicals such as Veronica in The Phantom of the Opera, Madame Giray, and Mrs. Potts in Beauty and the Beast. However, she was rarely hailed as a star, Mary suffered from a series of failed relationships in her youth and briefly struggled with alcoholism. After marrying photographer Raphael Frame in 1962, she lived a quiet life, rarely attending public events and focusing on raising her daughter Lucy, born in 1972. Then, in January 1998, luck smiled on her for the last time. Mary Miller was diagnosed with ovarian cancer. Although she continued to perform in Beauty and the Beast, her health rapidly declined. In early February of that year, she was forced to retire from the stage. And just 8 months later, on November 10, 1998, she died at her home in Broccoli, London, surrounded by her husband and daughter. She was 62. In his final months, as he wondered what he would do at heaven's doorstep, Mary smiled and said, "Rehearse for a role in the angelic orchestra, my dear." Marion Barron as the Reverend's wife. Marion Barron was born on March 28, 1958 in Nigeria and was born in Dumfries, Scotland. She started her acting career from very humble beginnings. At just 32, she played the role of the pastor's wife, the kind-hearted husband of the local pastor, in appearances on Keeping Up from 1990 to 1995. With grace and sophistication, Marion portrayed a character that provided a subtle contrast to the flashy acting of Hyacinth Bucket. Her career spanned more than 3 decades, primarily in television and theater. Before he found fame with his role in Keeping Up, Marion starred in Don't Wait Up in 1983 and Screen 2 in 1985. He later starred in The Bill and most recently We Hunt Together in 2020. Barron remains dedicated to his art as a silent artist behind a window. In her personal life, Marion Barron has been married to producer Simon Fuller since 1982. Unlike the founder of American Idol, the couple has 2 children and lives a stable, private life, away from the scrutiny of the media. As of 2025, Marion Barron is 63 years old. She occasionally returned to television in smaller roles, and with over 30 years in the industry and a happy family life, many consider her one of the few British artists to have found fulfillment both on and off screen. The appearances of the stars of Keeping Up have left an indelible mark on audiences, even as many have passed away in tragic circumstances.